So this is a simple demonstration of a Spring MVC that returns JSON and also securing, protecting some of the resources with JSON Web Tokens. Okay, as you can see, this server is running on local port 8081, and I can retrieve a list of books, right? And I can also show a specific ID of a book, right? And I also have an authors table, right? So right now I basically made it like a one-to-many relationship. An author can have many books. A book can only have one author in this case. Okay, so this is the books resource to get all books. If I wanna check all the authors, and basically it will redirect me to the other server, which is my authentication server, um, and it's in localhost 9999. And let's say I type in something first, invalid username and password, right? um, if I type again, check on the right side, it should generate a JSON Web Token. So as you can see, if I log in successfully, I should be redirected back to the /author, right? And now I have access to this author resource. And let's see, why didn't it show up though? So reload just to check. There you go. You see the JSON Web Token here, right? And I can now access a specific author as well. And let's say I go back to the book, I can still do that, right? So if I delete this JSON Web Token, as you can see, I can no longer access that again. Okay. Now I'll explain the process that I showed you a while ago. So first, we access the /books, right? And we have the controller annotation and request mapping so that um, every method here could have just start with the prefix of book, right? So we did do a /book/, so it goes to the book service, right? The book service would basically, the controller only needs to know I need to call this service, right? And when you go to the book service would now return a book DAO that basically retrieves all the books and basically builds that, right? With stream and dot map, right? And then we collect as a terminator, right? So now we get a list of books. If we're curious to see how this book DAO that get all books is implemented, we can check that out. And as you can see, we abstracted it away, where we are now just calling get all books and the find all, right? So this find all, right, as you can see at the top, the Hibernate book DAO is extended from the abstract Hibernate DAO and also implements the book DAO. So the book DAO only has the methods. This is the get all book. Okay. The abstract is an implementation, right? Extends the serializable, and you can see the find all, right? So basically what we're doing, we're just calling find all, and it basically would do this query. It would try to get the class get name of that this one, right? And basically we return the books, right? The book domain looks like this, right? We're using a lot of annotations here with the add data to string and builder, right? With Lombok, it makes it easier. And we can define some of our fields here. No need to do getters and setters. Then the book response, okay, so that we return a JSON. So now we have a domain. We go to the entity of the book, which maps to the table in our MySQL relational database, right? So we have to do the @entity, the table name, and the column name, as you can see, right? And make some exceptions as well. Okay, so now we're done with accessing a resource that is freely accessible. How do we protect a resource? So we go to implement a filter config, right? And this filter config, basically we can define, let's say, which resource we want to protect, right? A real use case would be an API, right? And let's say the other resource that we don't want to protect is a /public, right? But in this case, we want to make it simple and we just want to say protect the author resource, right? So as we said, it uses a JW request filter, and we can check that out. And as you can see, we have implementation here and the security filter, right? And we will basically check the cookie, right, to check a JSON web token there. If token is not null, we check the username, right? If username is not null, and we set the attribute, okay, and do a filter chain. And if we get the correct, we basically send the redirect, right? We send the user back to where he was accessing the resource, right? Let's see if we can go back there. And let's show you now the other code base for the authentication server. So this is the authentication server. As you can see, we just hard-coded the available user and password. And if you go to the login, right, it will basically check and get the username and password and check if it exists. If not, it's a credential error, right? If it's a correct one, we now generate the JSON web token, right? And we basically create that with the JWT constant, and then redirect the user back, right? So we can check JWT util, right? And we have that under the security util and generate token, as you can see. We now set the time because we want to set the expiry as well. As you can see, set expiration, right? Okay, and the JW constant is here, right? So we put the signing key. As you know, that JSON web token, we have the header, the payload, and the signing key. Okay, so heading back. So we've shown you the JWT util, the constant, generate token. The cookie util is basically this one. It's creating a cookie, basically. And for the application.properties, we would have these to basically specify the port, right? So that's about it for now. Thank you.